Oscar 2020 on ABC and stream on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Hey, I just need to let you know that we are in the middle of the NBA playoffs, so make sure you watch the Knicks versus the Hawks tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and on the ESPN app. What? Oh, Anna's behind us on the Behind the Table podcast today. We want you all to have a great day, everyone. Take a little time to enjoy the view, and do not let these people make you think you're in this by yourself. We are in this together, and we will get through it together. We'll see you tomorrow.
This is ABC 7 News at Noon.
For the Democratic primary field, as Governor Janet Mills has announced she is suspending her campaign for U.S. Senate. Good afternoon, I'm Grace Blanchard. Crews battled a large structure fire in Warren this morning, plus an arrest has been made following a series of vandalism at a Skowhegan cemetery. We'll have those stories and more coming up, but first let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, happy Thursday afternoon. We have advisories posted. A gale warning is up until Thursday. So today at around 8 p.m. just off the coast with a small craft advisory until 8 a.m. as we head towards Friday morning. In the meantime, we have precipitation that is moving in from the southwest and going toward the north and east. And this will be lasting for a while with some locally heavy downpours that will be expected. With this area, a low pressure that is currently rotating off towards the east. This will be lasting into today, tonight, and wrapping up early Friday morning, with Friday itself being dry under a partly cloudy sky or so. So here's Futurecast with the rain today and tonight. And then once we head towards early Friday morning, notice the rain is wrapping up and the clouds breaking up too. So as we do move forward, some gusty winds today are reaching up to about 15 miles per hour. It does back off later on tonight, and then once we head towards tomorrow, some gusty winds reaching up to about 15 to even 20 miles per hour. So for today, there's the rain. It's breezy out there too, with highs in the upper 40s and that southeast wind at about 25 miles per hour. And then there's your hourly forecast as we're showing that rain with temperatures in the 40s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up.
Thank you, Devin. Well, let's jump right into the big news of the day. Governor Janet Mills has announced she is suspending her campaign for U.S. Senate just weeks before the Democratic primary. In a statement released this morning, Mills cited financial challenges. She said in part, quote, "While I have the drive and passion, commitment and experience, and above all else, the fight to continue on, I very simply do not have the one thing that political campaigns unfortunately require today, the financial resources. That is why today I have made the incredibly difficult decision to suspend my campaign for the United States Senate," end quote. Well, this turn of events is clearing the way for political newcomer Graham Plattner to challenge Senator Susan Collins. Our Doug Banks joins us live in Augusta, where Plattner held a press conference this morning. Doug, what is the energy like from the Plattner campaign?
Good afternoon, Grace. Yes, it definitely changes things in the Senate race, and especially on the Democratic ticket. The press conference that Plattner was holding just ended a couple minutes ago, but it was a room full of lawmakers who were endorsing Plattner, including Senator Mike Tipping and Blue Hill Representative Nina Milliken. And during the press conference, reporters did ask about Governor Mills' suspension of her campaign and if she's endorsed Graham Plattner. He said that, he praised Governor Mills on her Senate campaign. She hasn't publicly endorsed Plattner, but he says he looks forward to working alongside her and to that possibility of supporting his campaign and endorsing it. You'll hear more from Plattner and those who endorsed him and more tonight at 6 o'clock. But for now, inside the governor's mansion here in Augusta Live, I'm Doug Banks. Grace, back to you in the studio.
Doug, thank you so much for that update. Reactions are pouring in following the announcement from Governor Mills. Maine Democratic Party Executive Director Devin Murphy Anderson made the following statement, saying in part, quote, "The Maine Democratic primary is neutral in primaries and will be proud to support our Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate, along with our nominees in races up and down the ballot," end quote. Meanwhile, the Maine Republican Party is continuing to voice strong opposition against Plattner, saying in part, quote, Mainers can't afford to send a radical, out-of-control extremist like Plattner to D.C., but that's exactly whom Maine Democrats have on their slate this election, end quote. We also spoke with political expert and University of Maine political science chair Mark Brewer about Mills' decision to suspend her campaign. He says while the announcement came as a surprise, there have been indications coming for weeks that suggested this might happen. He pointed towards her lack of on-air presence over the last few weeks and the lack of donations coming in from outside groups and the polls continuously showing Mills trailing. He added that although this puts Graham Plattner in a strong position for the Democratic nomination, Plattner still has a major battle against Senator Susan Collins ahead.
Maine has, been increasingly blue as a state, but Susan Collins is a proven winner, and the next person to beat her for United States Senate will be the first one. So we'll see if that actually happens.
Shifting gears now, a large structure fire in the town of Warren was reported this morning at 288 Main Street in the downtown area around 6 a.m. According to the Midcoast Villager, many mutual aid units were called to the scene, including Union, Waldoboro, and more. Knox County Sheriffs reported everyone was able to get out safe. Also, according to the Midcoast Villager, there was a report of a person having to jump out of a window to escape. We've heard reports of the fire marshals being called to the scene. We are still working to gather information on that fire and will continue to provide updates as those become available. And Wednesday was veto day at the legislature, and the House of Representatives was held back from adjourning for hours due to a hotly contested piece of legislation that seeks to allow access to certain confidential records pertaining to DHHS child welfare cases. Our Kelly Warren has those details.
On Wednesday, legislators returned to the State House for what is commonly referred to as Veto Day. It's a day for legislators to, after the session has adjourned, review any bills that the governor has vetoed.
We haven't finished our work.
Legislators tied up their loose ends before official adjournment, but it was a long night for the House of Representatives, thanks to a controversial bill that never made it to the governor's desk.
It was a great bill. It would have done a lot to help kids.
What a devastating bill that this would be to our public servants.
The bill that caused contention was LD 127, which, if enacted, would have strengthened legislative oversight of agencies such as DHHS and allowed legislators to review confidential records. The House attempted to adjourn before voting on that legislation.
The grand total, Chair, on the House vote, 66 voting in the affirmative, 72 in the negative. The motion fails. The House will be at ease until the sound of the bell.
Though the adjournment failed due to bipartisan support for LD 127.
It made a lot of people mad. It caused a lot of contention in these hallways. It wouldn't be right for us to leave and allow things to happen without our presence, and then in good faith look at our constituents in the eye and say we did our job. We'll be here until it's over, and then we'll go home.
Some legislators say the bill would have played a crucial role in helping children.
Safety for Maine kids, for accountability and transparency in Maine government. There are children who have died in Maine custody, and that's unacceptable at any level, but when you have 150 plus kids who have died in the last 5 or 6 years, that is absolutely atrocious and tragic. And so this bill would help bring accountability and, more importantly, transparency. We need transparency on how and why these kids are dying and what we can do to prevent it in the future.
While others worried it would have been an invasion of privacy to have those records available for legislators.
I feel that DHS is being used as a wedge to pry open the doors for these people to get confidential information on everybody. It's not just DHS, it's businesses, it's all public servants, that's law enforcement, firefighters, it's teachers, it's all of their confidential information. It can be photos of, an abuse situation of a young child that they can have access to. It's their medical records, their counseling or therapy records.
In the end, the bill was effectively dead because it would have had to go back to the Senate, which was adjourned well before the House.
It's a vote.
In Augusta, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The city of Bangor has put out a notice that hours are changing at Pierce Park starting May 1st. The park that is located at the intersection of Harlow Street and Center Street will be open from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. park has become a place where many of Bangor's unhoused population congregate, sparking concerns from some residents. And now the city is taking further steps to address this. The park will be patrolled by Bangor Police and City Park Rangers to ensure the safety and accessibility of the park during the hours it is open. The new hours will be in effect 7 days a week. There will be signs placed around the area with the modified hours and park rules. There have been multiple incidents over the past week in which headstones and angel statues at Southside Cemetery in Skowhegan were vandalized. Now Skowhegan police say they've arrested a man in connection with those incidents. 28-year-old Christian Newton of Skowhegan was arrested and charged with aggravated criminal mischief and interference with a cemetery or burial ground. Police say he was taken to the Somerset County Correctional Facility. His bail is set at $2,500. According to Skowhegan police, there could be additional people involved and are asking those with information to call them at 207-474-6908. With dozens of wildfires reported across the state in just the past week, our Alex Schley spoke with fire officials about what's behind the sudden spike.
In 2026 alone, more than 180 wildfires have been reported across Maine. One of the most recent burning 6 acres of forest in Oakland Monday.
So the initial report came from the police department. They were out on normal patrol. They wanted to know if we had any burn permits in the area. They could see some smoke, so we went to check that out. Then realized we had a much bigger fire.
Oakland Fire Chief David Coughlin says crews moved quickly, calling in mutual aid from neighboring departments.
We had fire departments that were bringing water and then supplying the lines. We had a forestry truck into the woods, but we had to supply, as well as a lot of side-by-sides with smaller tanks on them. So they'd make their way back out and then fill up and go back in towards the fire.
Forestry crews also brought in a helicopter, dropping water from above as a team worked through the difficult terrain below. Officials say the fire was contained within a matter of hours. And while the exact cause of Monday's fire remains under investigation, forestry officials say the majority of wildfires in Maine can be traced back to human activity.
So in Maine, the biggest fire cause is debris burning. Behind debris burning, we also have equipment, whether that is someone who's trying to start some small engine and sparks fly out into some leaves or dry grass, or someone dragging chains from a trailer along the road that creates spark.
As conditions are continuing to dry out, fire officials are urging residents to take extra precautions.
So you always want to check conditions before you burn. You want to obtain a permit and make sure you're burning legal material.
Officials also say never hesitate to call the fire department if a fire gets out of control or has the potential to spread. In Oakland, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, we'll hear more final thoughts from lawmakers as the 132nd legislative session has come to a close. Don't go away.
Do you have a wet basement, nasty crawl space, settling foundation, sinking concrete, or clogged gutters? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basement-y. For over 30 years, thousands of homeowners throughout Maine and southeastern New Hampshire have trusted TC Hafford. Basement waterproofing, crawl space repair, stabilizing foundations, concrete leveling, and gutter installation. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems for all things basement-y.
People ask me all the time, does Lowry & Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Falls are the #1 cause of injury to senior citizens. Acorn Stairlifts has the solution. Just don't fall. Sit, relax, ride with an Acorn Stairlift, the world's leader in stairlifts. Don't let limited mobility keep you from going up and down your stairs, even outside. Call Acorn Stairlifts now for a free information kit and no obligation quote. Why risk falling when you can safely ride?
Our Acorn Stairlift is definitely more affordable than moving.
The Acorn Stairlift has a padded seat and backrest. Safety sensors stop the chair if there are obstacles. The seat swivels and locks so you don't twist your body. And the Acorn Stairlift folds away. It even runs during power outages.
I was really surprised at how little it cost.
Call 1-800-732-2971 right now for your free information kit or visit our website today. That's 1-800-732-2971.
I was barricaded at the Capitol on January 6th. I saw it firsthand. I'm Jordan Wood. We can't go back to a broken system. I can't stand idly by as Trump rips away health care. ICE is terrorizing our streets, and billionaires buy elections. I spent my career defending democracy from election deniers and fighting corporate PACs. We need to take on Trump, beat Paul LePage, and finally deliver Medicare for all. I'm Jordan Wood. I approve this message.
All month we've been spurring it forward with our big winners coming back the next night, and Ryan is that champ right here.
Only one more chance to return.
Did you learn anything after playing last time?
Win the bonus round.
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back. FISA, a spy program considered both essential and controversial, is set to lapse within hours unless Congress acts. But the House and Senate remain on different pages. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
One of America's most widely used spy tools is about to expire. Authorization for the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, runs out at midnight unless Congress acts fast. The House passed a 3-year extension late Wednesday night, but it includes a ban on a central bank for cryptocurrency, which means the bill is likely dead on arrival in the Senate.
This is an important national security issue, and they shouldn't be tagging on other priorities.
I think it is going to have to go back to the House. I think it's a significant obstacle.
But House Republicans are pushing back, saying the banking provision is a national security issue.
Look, there's no better spy tool than a central bank digital currency and a control tool. So that we do think that it does fit within this bill.
Another big hurdle, a major ideological fight over whether intelligence agencies should need a warrant to spy on foreign targets. Critics say reform is needed because Americans who interact with those targets are also surveilled.
Section 702 is literally Congress's attempt to continue the most illegal portion of that by making it legal.
Ultimately, the House and the Senate will need to get on the same page to save FISA, but that's looking unlikely at the moment.
They're trying to jam us with some things. We're jamming them with some things, but I think ultimately this is the best representative government we have.
The spy powers under FISA are renewed on an annual basis, so they'll be in place until March 2027, but the program needs to be reauthorized by Congress in order to keep operating beyond that. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Iranian state TV shows footage where ships are still anchored in the Strait of Hormuz as the passageway remains effectively closed. It comes as the price of Brent crude oil spiked to roughly $123 per barrel today. No clear path to end the war in Iran has appeared, and reports that President Trump could escalate the conflict plunged hopes that an end is near. The closed passageway has impacted the price of food, fuel, and the world's economy. Dozens of frustrated heads of nations are repeating calls to reopen the waterway. Now back to the Maine State House. On Veto Day, Maine Republicans held one final gathering to sum up their view of the session, legislation, and particularly the budget. They said as the session adjourns, the state of Maine is at a crossroads. It can continue down what they called its current disastrous course or change direction in the next session. They talked about the budget that was passed, highlighting that this budget is a $12 billion budget that represents a 66% increase over the previous one. They questioned the level of spending, taxation, and whether Mainers are now better off than they were last year or in years prior. They cited failures in everything from addressing and combating fraud to education.
We have declining proficiency in reading and math. Can you imagine saying about a Maine kid that they don't know how to read at their grade level? Of course, there's kids who will struggle, but as a whole, we have a percentage of kids who can't read at their grade level. Absolutely unacceptable and completely ridiculous.
The Republicans said they are committed to flipping the narrow majority held by House Democrats in the hopes of changing the state's direction. Also at the State House Wednesday, Democrats held a press conference outlining what they call a successful legislative session. Affordability took center stage as leaders highlighted a series of bills aimed at lowering costs for Mainers. They pointed to efforts to make childcare more affordable, along with changes to healthcare, energy, housing, and other everyday expenses. Senate President Maddie Daughtry says she's proud of the work that's been done.
I want to say, I think one of the first press conferences I said that, affordability isn't just a buzzword or the word du jour right now. For us and for those of us standing in this room, this is something we've been fighting for before we even started having these press conferences. I think it's really in the DNA and fiber of everything we believe in.
Daughtry says while lawmakers have made progress this session, there's still more work ahead. She adds that is one of many reasons Democrats are planning to run for re-election. After the break, we'll see what's the latest dish from Mr. Food. We'll be right back.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At C&R Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the C&R promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with C&R Carpet Cleaning.
We need to stop the trafficking of fentanyl. We've had serious issues. Our death rate climbed tremendously.
Susan Collins successfully fought to give law enforcement the critical tools they need to combat fentanyl traffickers.
And I don't know anybody else as sincere as Susan Collins is about keeping our young people in our communities safe. Thank you, Senator Collins, for delivering when it matters most.
Paramount Paving, Maine's go-to for all your paving and seal coating. Paramount Paving offers commercial and residential paving and seal coating services throughout eastern and central Maine. Give us a call for a free estimate today. Paramount Paving. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
People ask me all the time, are those commercials really true? Does Lowry and Associates really get all of those clients, all of those big settlements? Yes, we do. We really have gotten millions of dollars for Mainers hurt by commercial vehicles. And the insurance companies know when you call the twos, we're going to fight for you. And you know what else is true? I really am standing on top of this big truck.
Hurt by a big truck? Call the twos. We win for you.
When it comes to mac and cheese, it seems like everyone has their favorite. Let me tell you, we've tried them all, but the new one that Patty just created for our Everyday Diabetic Recipe website is really amazing, and it has a secret ingredient. She started by mixing margarine and flour together with a bit of salt and pepper. Once that came together, she slowly added some fat-free milk. That's the base of our sauce. Once that thickened up, she stirred in some shredded reduced fat cheddar and mozzarella cheese until it was smooth. And as for the secret ingredient, Patty added some cooked butternut squash. And that can be frozen squash that's been thawed, or it can be freshly baked and mashed. Either way, let me tell you, it makes the sauce so rich and creamy without any guilt. And when she tossed it with some pasta, then topped it with Munster cheese and baked it off, it was amazing. So what are you waiting for? It's time to introduce your gang to a new twist on an old favorite. I think the best part is that no one will ever know that there's squash in it. The recipe for our 3-cheese macaroni and cheese is online now, so you can whip up a batch as soon as tonight. It's that easy. I'm Howard with Patty in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a healthier way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
An annual event aiming to feed the estimated 1 in 8 Mainers who are food insecure was held at the University of Maine yesterday. Around 500 student and community partner volunteers took part in the annual Maine Day Meal Pack-Out to dish out roughly 80,000 meals. According to one organizer, the meals that the dozens of food pantries across Maine will be receiving are complete meals that are nutritionally dense and shelf-stable.
This event reinvigorates the spirit of service, and I hope that going forward after seeing this event and the impact it has, people are inspired to make a similar commitment to giving back to the community.
Griffiths says planning for next year's student-run event will begin today. When we return, Devin Biggs has your full 5-day forecast.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing. Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Lights, camera, cheese! The Cheese House is looking for its next star, and it could be you. If you're 21 or older, enter for your chance to appear in the next commercial. Stop by the Cheese House at 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield to enter. While you're there, browse their huge selection of glassware and 420 specialty foods. But we have the cheese! Remember, entries are happening in person at the Cheese House, 5 Pike Drive in Fairfield. Bring your personality, bring your smile, and we have the cheese.
Car accidents can be scary. It can feel like the whole world is crashing down around you. Hurt in a car accident, I'm on top of it. I'm your go-to guy.
Call 222-2222.
Next Jeopardy, the gloves are off.
Come at me, bro.
3 players throw down. Only one will make it out as a champ.
You're ready to go, right?
Next Jeopardy.
Only on ABC 7.
At Old Town Redemption Center, we are always ready to help with any fundraisers or bottle drives. We are here to help our community. Like and follow us on Facebook for upcoming weekly holiday giveaways and our monthly $100 drawing.
Let's press pause and take a look at your full forecast with Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. Advisories posted. We have a gale warning up until 8 p.m. this evening along the coast right there, while farther off towards the north we do have a small craft advisory until 8 a.m. as we head towards your Friday. In the meantime, wave heights are active at around 7 to even 9 feet according to the buoys, and then further off towards the north and east the contours indicating high surf as well, while farther off towards the east, farther out towards sea, also 8 to 9 feet. So again, the ocean rather active out there this afternoon. As we check out the rainfall, it is moving in from the west and going toward the east with an area of low pressure, and this will continue today and also into tonight with some decent rainfall too. We'll definitely take the rainfall as many areas have continued to deal with drought, the entire state under some form of drought at this time. Let's zoom things out and show you the national picture. So there is a system for us that's currently tracking through that will be out of here by tomorrow, and overall we will have at least one dry day on the way. But here's what we're looking at. We have rain on the way. It's going to be lasting through today and tonight with locally heavy downpours possible, and then once we head towards early Friday morning, it tries to bring a few sprinkles in. It's out of here by Friday morning. The clouds break up as well, and then once we head towards Friday evening, we're looking good. Everything dries up. So in the meantime, as for rainfall, even through the week, weekend, another inch or so of rain. And then even by next week, you notice the accumulations go up, so there will be more rain on the way as we head towards next week. So again, welcoming the rain as long as it's spread out, right? But for today, here's what we're looking at. We got the rain, we got some wind with highs in the upper 40s and that southeast wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, low 40s, rain showers, areas of dense fog, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. And then tomorrow, part of the county, the rain's gone with highs in the upper 50s, breezy northwest wind at about 20 miles per hour. Your extended forecast as we check out Saturday, more rain chances, highs in the upper 50s. The rain continues Sunday with lower 50s for the high. And then we're dry Monday, partly cloudy with highs back into low 60s.
It was firefighters to the rescue of 8 ducklings that got themselves stuck in a storm drain near Via del Sol and Via La Colina. Crews with Murrieta Fire and Rescue answered the call, removing the heavy grate from the 3-foot drain. One of the firefighters then went inside and carefully placed the ducklings in a snake bucket before they were pulled out to safety. The brood then scrambled over to Mama Duck and headed off. And finally, 3 sea lion pups were released back into the ocean in Venice, California Tuesday after getting treatment at the Marine Mammal Care Center. LA City Councilwoman Tracy Park was there and says many of the animals that come to the center are suffering from domoic and acid exposure caused by runoff and toxic algae blooms. These 3 sea lions are recovering from malnutrition. The Marine Mammal Care Center is LA's only year-round rehabilitation center and rescues more marine mammals per mile off the coastline than any other organization in the U.S. Well, that's going to be all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you this evening on ABC 7 News at 6.
Step into a story that's funny, touching, and deeply human. Winterport Open Stage presents The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney. This unique production blends a series of scenes into a heartfelt look at family and tradition. Performances run May 1st, 2nd, 8th, and 9th at 7 p.m., with matinees May 3rd and 10th at 3 p.m. at Samuel Wagner Middle School in Winterport. For tickets, visit winterportopenstage.net or find Winterport Open Stage on Facebook.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.